silver stacking, should you pay the premium? This seems to be the biggest question asked lately, and it's a good one. When the paper price of silver plummeted to below $14 an ounce, dealers were faced with the dilemma of selling their stock below their actual cost or raising the premiums to balance profit margins with the cost of conducting business. Simply put, the dealers really didn't initially have a choice. However, today the paper spot is back up to pre-COVID price, and yet the premiums still remain extraordinarily high. The reason for this is simple economics. There is a shortage of finished bullion products available as the demand for such products has been skyrocketing for the past 90 days. A search for your favorite online bullion dealer can be a frustrating endeavor. Everything you want is either out of stock or priced absurdly high. Should you buy anyway? Should you wait? Or should you focus your disposable income in another direction? This is a very complex question with many different variables to consider. No one can tell you what to do with your wealth, and I am not an investment advisor, and this is not investment advice. I'm just a stacker with a few years of experience under my belt and someone who feels they have a reasonable understanding of the investment markets that I participate in. With that said, here's how I would approach the question. Should you pay the premium? Depending on where you are at in your stacking journey would affect this decision. What do I mean by that? If you're new to stacking and have a limited budget and are wanting to grow your stack, then my answer would be to continue to dollar cost average the purchase of only the foundation bullion you use for your stack. I would not buy any high premium or collector items whenever base premiums are so high, but I wouldn't just stop stacking either. As a new stacker still trying to develop the foundation of your stack, I think it is important that you make a dollar cost averaging accumulation plan and you stick to it regardless of the premiums. If premiums are high, that just means that you'll be limited to the amount of ounces that you can acquire with each purchase, but with the dollar cost averaging principle, those premiums and quantities will balance out as you consistently make your timely purchases. With a marketplace of extreme premiums, you may also choose to extend the time between purchases so that you can take advantage of quantity discounts. If you are a stacker with a well-established foundation, I would probably wait on making precious metals purchases and watch for indicators of reverse trends in the market and take full advantage of price dips. This type of strategy involves larger but less frequent purchases, perhaps even months between buys, so you have to possess the necessary patience. If you are a well-established stacker and your financial business is in order, meaning that you are basically debt-free, perhaps minus a mortgage payment, and you have disposable income, I would consider beginning to dollar cost average purchases of fractions of Bitcoin. Whatever your budget can handle, $10 a month or $1,000 a month, whatever is acceptable to your budget, but make the Bitcoin purchases with the goal of accumulating at least 1/2 or 1 whole Bitcoin over time. There is no need to have to purchase a whole Bitcoin right away. When we buy our precious metals, we don't jump right up to a 1,000-ounce LBMA bar. The same holds true for accumulating Bitcoin. The time to enter this market is not when it's shooting the moon, but when it's doing just the opposite. Buying a little at a time on a schedule, regardless of price, has the potential to yield life-changing wealth. As with all financial opportunities, they are not without risk. This is why I advocate to make small, affordable purchases with disposable income. Also, it is critically important to place your Bitcoin in an offline cold storage wallet like a Ledger Nano S and let it slowly accumulate. Never leave your cryptos on an exchange or in any wallet that is connected to the internet, like PCs or smartphones. Your Bitcoin wealth kept in a cold storage wallet is completely safe from any would-be hacker. What is Bitcoin? Bitcoin is a completely decentralized digital currency. There is no central authority or centralized payment system controlling Bitcoin. Instead, Bitcoin operates in a peer-to-peer network that allows anyone in the world to send and receive Bitcoin without any middleman, like a bank, a central bank, or a payment processor like Visa, MasterCard, or PayPal. Bitcoin as a global settlement layer. Bitcoin was originally described as a peer-to-peer electronic cash, but the technology has evolved to Bitcoin becoming a settlement layer rather than a payment network. As with most emerging technologies, they are very fluid during development. As new concept, ideas, and technologies are developed, better, more effective, and efficient use cases are discovered. Thinking of Bitcoin as a digital currency is no longer what it's all about. Without trying to get too technical, Bitcoin is evolving into what is referred to as Layer 2 scaling of payment remittance. When you look at Bitcoin as a settlement layer, it involves using the base layer, the main blockchain, as a means of a verifying activity on other side chains or blockchain layers that are built either on top of the base layer or around it. So today, as we look at Bitcoin, we should be mindful of several points. Bitcoin as a form of wealth cannot reasonably be compared to any existing form of wealth, as it is a completely different concept of wealth. I feel that this is the problem with most who try to debunk Bitcoin as a form of wealth or to justify not investing in it. Yes, as all new emerging technologies, there is inherent risk. But we have to remember that information technology companies like Microsoft and Apple were once based on emerging technologies. Internet companies like Google and Amazon were once based on emerging technologies. The world is changing at an exponential rate. Civilization has arguably existed on this planet for 6,020 years now. But it was only 201 years ago that we evolved from wind-driven sailing vessels to the first steamship. The first time a human conducted a controlled flight in an airplane was only 117 years ago. The first man in space was only 59 years ago. The first personal computer was created only 49 years ago. The Microsoft company was created 45 years ago. The World Wide Web became public only 29 years ago. Google was created a mere 22 years ago. The first iPhone was released only 13 years ago. And Bitcoin source code was released only 11 years ago. The point to this is mankind's evolution of technologies. These technologies were once considered unthinkable, and now they are very much a part of everyday human life. As a silver stacker, I stack precious metals as a safe haven for my wealth to endure a potentially hyperinflationary economy, a monetary reset, or possibly a global financial collapse. There is no question in my mind justifying the value of stacking precious metals in today's current economic environment. But looking forward, precious metals is only a place to park my wealth during a financial crisis. Eventually, once the economy recovers, resets, or whatever, I will need to convert my precious metals into a more lucrative asset class. Right now, the US dollar is the global currency. 60% of all global commerce is conducted in US dollars. 40% of all global debt is denominated in US dollars. If the US dollar were to collapse tomorrow, what do you think would happen to the 60% of global commerce and the nations that hold 40% of the global debt denominated in US dollars? Those holding the debt will lose all of that wealth, and world commerce will come to a screeching halt unless there is an alternative global commerce system for remittance that can immediately replace the US dollar. That's where Bitcoin makes sense to me. Right now, today, it's the only viable method of global remittance that can step in and replace the dollar. Now, there may be something that comes along better later on, but I'm dealing with what I have to work with today. I want to make sure that I am ahead of the masses. That's why I already have my wealth safe havened as a stack of precious metals. I have removed all excess cash from financial institutions, including anything denominated in dollars. I am completely debt-free, and now I am seeking the future answer to the global economic crisis that is before us. Let's face it, our world is turning digital. It has been for decades now. We seldom use cash anymore for the purchase of goods and services. It's all done with check, debit, and credit cards, if not through direct online banking payments. Physical money really is losing its purpose, and it's only a matter of time before it disappears altogether. Why wait until that happens? I say get ahead of the game. Do your homework and research and decide for yourself what the future has in store for us. Bitcoin is part of a pioneer technology that has the potential to be the viable replacement remittance for the current global commerce economy. It seems to be the only option I see at this time. If you know of another option, please let me know in the comment section below. As silver stackers, we have seen the silver markets remain flatlined for decades now. We still continue to stack because we know that one day the manipulation will stop and the true discovery price for silver will once again be allowed to reign free throughout the markets. We continue to stack in the face of so many who say that we're crazy for buying this archaic, ancient form of wealth that hasn't shown a sign of life, with the exception of the two brief blips in price to $50 an ounce in 1980 and 2011. But we as stackers know that precious metals are a form of true wealth, and regardless of what any government currency does, having precious metals means retaining our wealth. Bitcoin, on the other hand, has demonstrated a consistent trend of steadily increasing in value over time. Both silver and Bitcoin have had their blips, but Bitcoin has maintained a consistent overall climb in value since it really began to become public aware in 2017. Before this time, it remained obscure and virtually unknown to the general public. But once this changed and the initial hype surge completed its course, we have seen that the masses, as well as institutional money, have realized the potential for this asset class and has begun to take steps to be able to participate in the Bitcoin markets. This has been accomplished through the development of Bitcoin futures and options on futures to mitigate risk of institutional investment in the Bitcoin market. The economic indicators are showing a continued overall price increase amongst the volatility in the price of Bitcoin. According to this Forbes article dated 13 April 2020, despite Bitcoin's recent price volatility, the cryptocurrency asset is up around 40%, outperforming all other asset classes over the past 12 months. Palladium has outperformed Bitcoin in the last year, but all the other precious metals have fallen short. Taking a look at 2019 performance by asset class as a percentage of return, you can see clearly that Bitcoin is the winner by a huge margin over the NASDAQ, S&P 500, gold, commodities, US Treasuries, and all the other asset classes. As an investor, these statistics can't be ignored. They are not hype or opinion. They are fact that Bitcoin was by and far the best performing asset class of 2019, better than the next 3 asset classes' performance combined. I created this channel to help people understand precious metals, finance, and the economy. I would be remiss to leave out informing my audience of an investment class as dominant as Bitcoin is right now. Bitcoin does not replace precious metals, but complements them as a part of a balanced portfolio. So to close the circle on this video presentation, as a stacker who already has an established stack and has their finances in order, I am currently waiting out the silver premiums and continuing to place investment purchases in the best performing asset class of 2019 and the asset class that is currently yielding the greatest return so far in 2020. Was this video informative and useful to you? Let me know if you invest in both Bitcoin and precious metals. A big thank you to all who support this channel, especially to those who take the time to share, comment, and subscribe. It is greatly appreciated. If you're not yet a subscriber and you enjoy this content, hit the subscribe button. Then be sure to select the notification bell to be notified as soon as I post up new content. If you enjoy learning about precious metals, finance, economy, and news and current events that affect these subjects, then consider joining the ST66 Discord server. It's completely free and open to all. You can read articles, watch videos, monitor conversations, or you may choose to chime in and be a part of them. There are several chat rooms of different subjects depending on what you're interested in. Check it out. The link will be in the Show More section below. I'll look forward to seeing you there.